Shalom.
Call Haloyam La Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodash. Rakatan Yahweh, Baktan Yahweh Shai, Baktan Rechak Kodash, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodash. Shemai, Yasharala, Yahweh, Allah Hayanapwa, Yahweh, Ahud, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechak Kodash.
Shalom and double honors unto the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to the elder bishops and the elders and the Akim and the Akwath of the hopeful elect. Shalom. Just want to go into a quick video entitled The Nigard of the Earth Will Soon Be Gone. We know that a carnal man, a kingdom that is fleshly, cannot last forever, right? So, in these last days, this is only on our minds of the hopeful elect, the men of the Lord, the hopeful elect, men, women, of the Lord, understand that the return of the Messiah, is so close, and that's the only thing that at the forefront of our minds, is the prophecies and the days we've been speaking about. The end times is here, and we must continue to keep our garments, keep it clean, washing it in the everlasting waters of the words and commandments of the Most High, right? Because we know the end of the wicked is short. It's soon coming to an end, and that's the so-called white race, the Babylon the Great. The head of all of the so-called white, Edomite tribes throughout the earth. So we'll go here first to Sirach 31 and verse 1. Is watching for riches consumeth the flesh, and the care thereof driveth away sleep. So we know that that's what the so-called white man, that's all he does. He watches for riches. He keepeth not at home. He's in everybody else's borders, watching for their what natural resources, right? The diamonds, gold. They stay in Africa with coal mines and digging up diamonds and riches and keeping these nations oppressed. And over there, watching the oil of the Arabs, being in league with them, keep making their currency, the U.S. dollar, the world trade currency, for the oil of the Arabs and throughout the four corners, right? So they watch for riches all the time. They're not content. They can never. They're as death and hell. They can never have enough. Habakkuk 2:5, I believe. And then they can never get any sleep because why? They drive away their sleep because that's their culture. The so-called American culture is they boast and brag about the entrepreneurial economy here, and that they say that they brag and say that they never sleep, right? I remember Vince McMahon, the WWE chairman, the owner, that blasphemous devil. He said that he bragged that he never sleeps, that he works, he never takes a day off, and he said that he works more, that he doesn't take a day off, and so therefore that makes him better than the Most High. Or he said that I think he said the Most High was lazy or something like that because he took a day off, the 7th day to rest. That's a very blasphemous, filthy person, that Vince McMahon, and the Most High is going to destroy him. And I may pray that I can have him as one of my slaves in the kingdom of heaven, if I can be infinitely blessed to be sanctified through the Messiah, through the Messiah's blood, to be blessed to be able to receive that salvation. And the book of Psalms, and it pisses me off thinking about it, so Psalms 2 and verse 8, ask of me and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance. And devils like that really rub you the wrong way. It's okay to pray that if you're blessed with infinitely blessed to be sanctified through the Messiah to receive salvation, that you put in a particular request, to have certain devils as one of your special requested slaves, so that you can meditate terrors upon them, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So it's not a wicked thing In verse 9, thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. And I believe that's also in Revelation 2 and 27. This is off the head right here. Let me see if that's it. Okay. And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers, even as I received of my Father. And I will give him the morning star. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. And the churches are the Israelite churches, not any other heathen. It's the gathering of the Israelites. So when you look at churches, it's a Greek word meaning ecclesia. The only ecclesia, the only church, are the Israelites. So when you look at that word, a gathering of citizens called out from their homes into some public place or an assembly. So this is going into the Israelites in that great calling. So with little churches throughout Babylon the Great, and then throughout Babylon the Great, and then throughout the four corners of the earth. So right here, an assembly of Christians worship. Yeah, right here in B, the assembly of the Israelites. So that's the proper context. It's only people that can be Christians, meaning, Mashiachium. That's plural for the anointed, those that follow the anointed. Mashiachium. Mashiach means anointed. So the anointed, those that follow the anointed. So, all right. Kind of got sidetracked, getting a zeal from being pissed off about Vince McMahon blaspheming Almighty. But that's their culture, They brag about no sleep. They don't sleep because they are consumed with riches from the flesh, fleshly sowing to the flesh, and they're going to reap corruption and death. Romans 8 and 6 through 8. So if I want to jump to verse 24. Say, but against him that is a niggard of his meat, the whole city shall murmur, and the testimonies of his niggardness shall not be doubted of. So when you speak about the so-called white man and his niggardness, he's the only nigger of the earth. And nigger, we'll get that word real quick. And so when you speak about his stinginess and his wickedness, and heaping unto himself and not giving to and not being generous, and not being generous and sharing the wealth that he's stolen, not by, that he's gotten not by righteousness, but by wickedness and stealing. Everyone knows of his ways. And when you speak about it to anyone, that, they won't doubt anything that you say about him because, they know how wicked that he is. And so one real quick right here, the word niggard, the definition for niggard is a stingy or ungenerous person. And he's not generous. And he's not charitable, and when he does, he does it as the hypocrites do. He broadcasts it to make it seem like he's such a philanthropist or whatever, so such a great person, right? And he has his reward because he want to broadcast it, and that's what you're not supposed to do. He's a hypocrite and a stingy person, right? Even to his own. So that's what a niggard is, a stingy, ungenerous person. He heapeth unto himself riches, and he doesn't share it. Only with the select, that sell their soul. The only way that he'll give a trinket to a person, on a that's quote unquote makes you rich, like these celebrities and athletes, they have to sell out. They have to sell out and sell their soul. Doctors, they take that Hippocratic oath. I call it a hypocritical oath, but Hippocratic oath, that's a wicked oath unto Satan, because that's why the doctors, they be in cahoots and they don't speak out against, the destruction of the medication that they prescribe, because it's witchcraft. Pharmacy means pharmakia in the Hebrew, in the Greek, and that means sorcery and witchcraft, right? So it's all wickedness, They all sell their soul to have a little bit of money with the niggard of the earth. The so-called white race, the so-called white man. So now we'll go to verse 24. But against him that is a niggard of his meat, the whole city, we just read it. and the testimonies of his niggardness shall not be doubted of. So no one will doubt how wicked he is when people hear about different accounts of his niggardness, because they know that he's a low life, piece of trash. Sirach 31 and 24. Okay, okay, 30. Or I'm tripping. Let me see. Let me go to 30 then. Did I read that one? Okay. Envy and wrath shorten the life. And so he envies everyone else's resources, and and his wrath. We know he's very wrathful. Just look at the World War II, the atomic bomb. It shortened his life. His lifespan is very short, and it's already short, and he shortens it even more. Because of his wickedness and the deeds that he does, and the Most High is going to shorten the days for the elect's sake. So because no flesh would be saved because of whose wrath? Esau, Edom's wrath. And carefulness bringeth age before the time. He's always having these counsels, carefully and diligently seeking how he's going to destroy people, create narratives and destroy nations, create narratives against other nations' leaders to justify going into their place, saying that they have weapons of mass destruction, to destroy the Saddam Husseins of the world who want to reject the U.S. dollar. So from there we'll go to Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 11 and 19. Whereas he saith, I have found rest, and now will eat continually of my goods. So, after he destroys everybody and becomes a world superpower, now, he feels that he has rest. He's going to eat continually, meaning continually means nonstop, meaning he thinking that he's going to never be taken out of power. That's his pride. The pride of his heart deceive him, so-called white man, Esau. And yet he knoweth not what time shall come upon him. He don't think about the latter end of it, and of all of his wickedness. For the wages of sin is death, and that he must leave those things to others and die. So that's what Esau ultimately, when you read these scriptures, they're timeless. No matter what time or era you're in, no matter what kingdom and period of history you're in, these scriptures are forever. So it applies to whichever kingdom is in power. The word has dominion over mankind for eternity, and it applies to whoever is ruling. And we know this is chiefly talking about the wicked of the earth, the so-called the Edomites, so-called white race. So he gather all these riches, and he think he's going to eat continually and never be taken out of power, but don't realize that he has an end coming soon. That's that pride that make him spiritually retarded, where he can't comprehend. He doesn't have foresight. Only he's in the moment. That you only live once. That YOLO culture. You only live once culture. Do as thou wilt. That's their motto. That's their culture. Psalms 49 and 11. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever. So he think he'll eat continually from his bread that he's gotten by wickedness and deceitfully gotten. And their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. America named after who? Americo Vespucci. America is the feminine form of Amerigo. So in Africa, Leo Scipio Africanus named Africa, and his brother Asiaticus named Asia, when they conquered that area. So that's just what these people do. These Edomites do. So Jeremiah 17 and 11. As the partridge sitteth on eggs, and hatcheth them not, so he that getteth riches, and not by right, because we know he get all his riches by wickedness, the Edomites, so-called white man, shall leave them in the midst of his days, and at his end shall be a fool. So he's the children of fool, the children of base men, Job 30 and 8. So he's a fool for the way all of his dealings, he got everything through deceit and injuries, grievous injuries upon all nations, chiefly the Israelites, so-called Black Latinos, Native American Indians. And so those eggs that partridge got, that's an analogy and parable of the so-called white man gathering all the riches of the earth and hatching them, not meaning don't see the end of it. And so he has these in the midst of having all these riches, like he has all that gold at Fort Knox, which are now removed from Fort Knox, but he has these vaults of gold upon gold, especially that wicked queen, so-called queen over there, of England. All that gold she stole from the Israelites, that was a holdover from the European era, the so-called medieval times, so-called dark ages, when we ruled Europe, and they came out the caves and took over during the Renaissance and stole all the riches and gold. And from one of them was Mansa Musa, because he was the richest man, in the earth. But that's another topic. But they're sitting on all these eggs, aka riches and gold and resources that they steal, and then they're going to die in the midst of having it. And this ain't going to be a fool. He lives as a fool, and his memorial will be of a fool as well. But he will not be remembered because he's going to be as a vision of the night, as a shadow, here one moment and gone forever the next. Psalms 39 and verse 6. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Vain means empty. This place, Babylon the Great, is the greatest form and greatest version of that phrase. Because why? Social media, selfies, which means short for selfish. What's good about being selfish? Nothing. That'll lead you to death. And that's pride, and all wickedness comes from pride. And social media, everyone are so-called influencers. Social media, they call them influencers. Social media, Instagram models, which are just just digital prostitute whores, and that's this country is the epitome of a vain show, through their YouTube channels and everything. It's a vain show. It says, surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches and knoweth not who shall gather them, because all of these riches, he's going to die in the midst of having them, and he don't know who's going to receive them after he's gone, because what knowledge is there in the grave? So going from there to James chapter 5 and verse 1. Go to now, ye rich men, that's Esau Edom, chiefly. Weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Because why? The end days are here. And he's going to be destroyed in the midst of having all of his, of enjoying his riches. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. It's cancerous stuff, deteriorating, over time. Verse 3, your gold and silver is cankered, and that's a different word meaning cancer, It's going to cancer over time, to rust over, cover with rust. To deteriorate, canker, going into cancer. And the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. And they are the ultimate fleshly preppers. And as I said, I believe I did a video about a year or two ago, that we are spiritual preppers, because we're spiritually, we're storing up our treasures in heaven. So the hopeful elect, we are spiritual preppers, and that's where moth or rust not doeth corrupt, But the so-called white man, he cornerly prep, doomsday preppers, and they're going to store up treasures, They're going to store up their storehouses here during the last days, during the apocalyptic times, and they're going to be destroyed. And then there's going to be cases where the men of the Lord and men and women of the Lord, reap the benefits of those stored up goods, those that watering food that they're storing up, thinking that they're going to survive the apocalyptic times. They even show you in the movies, So let's see, verse verse 3, no, verse 4. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth. And that was first, with the Israel us brought over here into slavery, the southern kingdom, you know, and then also, destroying the northern kingdom too. So all of us, so-called Black Latinos, Native American Indians, through slavery, and then now in the prison systems, because they only get paid like dollars or cents a day, making everything be in the background of a lot of production, that the so-called white man corporations enjoy, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. That's the Lord of armies, That's Yahweh. He hears it and he's going to destroy them for it. Sabaoth. Lord of Sabaoth. Lord of the armies of Israel. You remember when Elijah told, I believe it was Elijah, he requested from the Most High to please open the spiritual eyes of, I believe, Elisha, to see the armies are surrounded about, protecting them. And the spiritual armies, that was the Lord of Sabaoth being revealed unto Elisha. I believe it was Elisha. Yeah, so Lord of the armies of Israel, and that's the Heavenly Father Yahweh. And then Yahweh Shai is going to be, at the helm, the right arm of Yahweh Shai. As those who are under the leadership and protection of Yahweh maintain his cause in war. The chief war angel is Michael, and the rest of the rank and file of the war angels under Yahweh and Yahweh's chief war angel, Michael. I believe it's Mayak, Ya'ala in the Hebrew for Michael. But reading on, continuing. So from there we'll get a precept going into the reapers. They've been reaping the benefits. Esau is the reaper. They're the reapers, benefiting the sowing and the work and labors of the Israelites all these years. So Amos 9 and verse 13, but we'll start at 12 to get the context. It says that they may possess the remnant of Edom. And it's going to be a remnant because a good amount of Edomites going to get burnt up, and then the rest, the leaders of the Edomites, they're going to get rounded up and go head first into captivity, and the rest of those Edomites going to get rounded up. So this is the end time. This is after the judgment go forward, and they're going to go into captivity because they had us in captivity, right? That they may possess the remnant of Edom and all of the heathen. So all the heathen are in bed with the Edomites, destroying the Israelites. So they all got to go into captivity and serve that captivity. It's not a hard concept to understand. Revelations 13, 9 through 10, which are called by my name, said the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that doeth this. It's the Most High. So verse 13, and why is that? Behold, the days come. This is letting you know this is the end time prophecy. Said the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper. The plowman or the Israelites in captivity over here in America, Babylon the Great. And we're going to overtake the reaper. We plow, and he picks up he reaps. He's behind us as we're plowing. He's walking behind us, picking up all of the goods that we are plowing up, and the fruit that's coming from our plowing. So that's the so-called white race. That's the reaper. He doesn't do any work. He's lazy. All he does is just put us to work. Because look at all of the laborious jobs, the laborious jobs, right? The heavy, intensive jobs. It's all Israelites, so-called Hispanics, Latins, so-called blacks, Native American Indians. And who's always at the head, like when you go to a construction site, who always wears that foreman hat? Therefore, you can tell the supervisor of the construction site. It's always a filthy Edomite, right? He's the reaper, and then he has all of his plowmen, always the Israelites, so-called Hispanics, and so-called blacks, Native American Indians, always doing the plowing. So and all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt. So what causes things to melt? The thermonuclear fire. James 5, and going to verse 5. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and have been wanton. So that wanton goes into, where is that? To live luxuriously, lead a voluptuous life, give oneself to pleasure. And we know the scriptures say that she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. That goes into whores, with wicked women. That's not in order and out of order. And also on a grander scale, countries or the Most High refers to countries as women, right? And so she that liveth in pleasure, America the whore, Babylon the great, she's living in the most pleasures and luxury, living in a voluptuous lifestyle, having everything, all of the delicacies, that this earth can give, That's why the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Job 9:24, the so-called white race. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and have been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter. Just taking and destroying to their heart's content. And we know that they can never have enough. Ye have condemned and killed the just. And what's that word just? Goes into what's just? The commandments. The nation of the just, those are the Israelites. And chiefly the 1/3 elect of the Israelites. Righteous, observing the divine laws. So whoever says the laws are done away with are of Satan and they're not divine, they remove they remove righteousness from their life. So they are now unrighteous, they're ungodly, and they will be a part of the 2/3 that get judged with the wicked and the heathen. The wicked being the Edomites, and the heathen being the other heathen nations. And the ungodly are the Israelites that don't follow the commandments of the Most High, the 2/3. Ye have condemned and killed the just. Those are starting with the prophets and servants, and the rest of the 1/3 elect. And he doeth not resist you. So we're at peace with the Edomites, so-called white man, but he destroys us and slaughters us, all the time through his slave patrol, aka police force. Sirach 29 and verse 10. Lose thy money for thy brother and thy friend, and let it not rust under his stone to be lost. See, that's what Esau does. He sits on all his money, and he's not neighborly at all. He's evil to his own self. So how can he be good to anyone else, especially the Israelites, right? So he doesn't know how to lend. He lend by usury, not by love and peace, and according to the commandments. He loans his money out with interest, and then it's a very strict, tedious process to even get anything from the devil. Because he lends he puts interest on all this money that he lends out, but he gives the lower interest rates to his brothers, and then he gives us those high interest rates, the Israelites. Verse 11, lay up thyself treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. You see? So how you lay up your treasures in heaven? You lay it up in heaven by keeping the commandments of the Most High. So anyone that says the laws, statutes, and commandments are done away with, they are not storing. They can't possibly store treasures in heaven. So you ask a silly, simple, foolish Christianity person, how do they store up treasures in heaven then? And then they'll go ahead and they'll start false philosophizing. They'll start freestyling from their own wicked, dark, carnal mind. And they won't give you any answer. That's why Christianity is filled with homosexuals and full of wickedness, filled with sin and filled with pork, and shrimp, crab, and lobster, doing all manner of wickedness. And adultery, that's another top. Homosexuality and adultery are the top two things, along with eating unclean, unlawful animals, beginning with that swine that they love. They love to their end. So, verse 12. Well, we'll keep reading. It said in verse 11, lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. So, the reward when you spiritually cash in from the Most High, bless you to be able to cash in from storing up those treasures in heaven, sowing to the spirit, then and we know that which is spiritual is the law, Romans 7:14. Then in the name of Yahweh Shai, your benefits and your reward is going to be far greater than gold could ever, pay thee. Verse 12, shut up alms in thy storehouses. Alms goes into, being charitable. Shut up alms in thy storehouses. Don't worry so much about, trying to become rich, carnally rich in your carnal storehouse, but treasures in your spiritual storehouse, where the Most High has sitting and resting until He give it to you in the day of salvation. Also, we'll be able to draw from that spiritual bank account, during the time of Jacob's trouble in the apocalyptic times. And it shall deliver thee from all affliction. And that's that affliction during Jacob's trouble during the apocalyptic times. In verse 13, it shall fight for thee against thine enemies, better than a mighty shield and strong spear. Real quick, Ephesians 6, I think it's somewhere around, let's see, 13. But we'll read verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh in the name of Yahweh Shai, and that's spiritually, having faith first and foremost, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand. So that's how you're storing up your alms, your alms in the storehouses, storing up your treasures in heaven. So right here, verse 16, above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. So that's how you do it, that shield of faith, clothing yourself with the spiritually to be able to withstand the wickedness from Esau Edom in these last days. And those fiery darts ultimately will be those thermonuclear missiles, and getting beamed up into one of those chariots, so-called UFOs. So to the natural man, that might sound crazy, but it's all throughout the Holy Scriptures that those so-called UFOs are the chariots of the Most High. And even Esau is revealing it slowly but surely. He's dripping it and barely revealing that those might be the angels of the Lord in those chariots. He's not going to tell you that unless the Most High. You have to know unless the Most High is the only way you can find out and know is through the Most High. Dealing with you with this Holy Spirit in the name of Yahweh Shah. So right here we'll read. Okay, that was that on that. So now we'll go ahead and finish up with Sirach 14:3. The Lord willing says, riches are not comely for a niggard, and what should an envious man do with money? So we know we read about envying. He envies, and he's going to destroy himself, an envious and a vengeful man. And these riches that he has, they're not comely, meaning beautiful for a stingy person, a niggard. So we know that through all of that and his deeds and how wicked he is, the niggard of the earth, the so-called white man, the Edomites, will soon be gone. So I just want to do something real quick in the spirit. Lord willing, this video was edifying. The water to the Rachak Wadash Bashem Yahushai for another video. Until next video, I say, Shalom.